Hi, Jeff. How are you today?
Hey, John. I'm well. Happy summer's finally coming its way to Cleveland. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Hey, tell me when you started at Rovisus and where you went to school, and maybe even what group you work in.
Um, I started at Rovisus on May 1st of 2017, so that was about just about 2 years ago. I was lured to Rovisus by my friend Andrew Kelly. He and I actually went to college together at Miami University, and oddly enough, we didn't know each other in college. It wasn't until after college that we had connected, and he had encouraged me to apply, and I applied. Loved the company, but yeah, I studied at Miami University, computer engineering, and I then went on to Case Western, where I got my master's in engineering and management.
Excellent. Well, Miami, that's a pretty prestigious university. Did
I like to
you
think so.
get there on your own merit, or did you have someone pay a bribe?
Well, it was actually the only school I applied to be honest with you. I applied early admission and knew where I wanted to go. So who knows?
Okay. Okay. How about a little Rovisus trivia?
Well,
Do you know where our first office was located?
I think it was Beta Park in Richmond.
Well, you are close, but not accurate.
Oh,
We were at Alpha Park
okay.
in Highland Heights, Ohio.
Mm.
And we started there in 1989, and 3,600 square foot facility that grew to a 7,200 square foot facility. We spent 5 years there, and when we left, we had about 30 employees, and we moved to Aurora.
Wow.
Jeff, you have been involved with the Miller Coors project and have participated in startups at multiple locations. Do you have a particular go live experience that was unforgettable?
The go lives that are unforgettable are the ones that don't necessarily go as planned. Not that they go poorly. It's just they don't go as planned. And I can think of one opportunity that we had up in the Milwaukee brewery. It was the original Miller brewery, and so they added onto it throughout the years. And it's a very complex infrastructure where you had doors that led to nowhere, and you had a lot of stairs to go up and down. You had to navigate this brewery with little to no map or resources around to help you. And this was a situation where our packaging lead was on paternity leave. And so me and another team member, we went up there on Sunday morning to cut over the lines. And we got up there when we're dependent upon the site engineers to complete their cutover activities. And they were struggling. They didn't have their equipment ready. And we ended up sitting around for several hours waiting for them. It wasn't until 12:30 a.m. that they got their stuff ready. And it was, by that time, about 12 hours. We went in there, we got the work done, and got out of there by 2:30. But what made it especially interesting is walking around the brewery, dimly lit. It was, if you imagine a horror movie, walking around a dark building in a warehouse, and having to walk through doorways that you don't know where they lead. It was as if you could turn over your shoulder at any point and the person you were with just disappeared and you didn't know what happened. So that made it a unique experience. That, and when we finally got out of the brewery, it was about 2:30 a.m. and we had to be back on site by 6 a.m. to support the production startup. And so it was a long 2 days, but memorable.
So, Jeff, any advice to our newest employees about how to handle on site commissioning work with our clients?
Embrace the experience. There's nothing like being on site that's going to teach you. In fact, it's the point on the project that you will learn the most. You'll learn the most about the business. You'll learn the most about the processes. You'll learn the most about how people handle change. So embrace it. It's going to be scary. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to learn a lot. And I think that's a great opportunity that you should take advantage of.
I see you drink some beer before.
I have, yeah.
So, what's your favorite beer?
I'm a fan of Polliner, the Hefeweizen. I like German beers, and I don't think it tastes any better than if you get it in a Stein, in a full liter. That's the best way to enjoy it.
Excellent. Well, what do you think? Should we have a beer?
Absolutely. I brought you one.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you could have a beer With anyone in history, who would it be? Why them? When would it happen? And cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Well, it's pretty interesting. I think if I could chat with anybody in history, it'd be General George Patton. And I'm a student of World War II, and it's predominantly because of my father. My father served for General George Patton in the Third Army, but I didn't know that until after he died, because he never told anybody about his war experience. Long story short, I found a backpack in his house when I was cleaning it out, and it was full of memorabilia, photographs, weapons, war documents, and a diary. And lo and behold, he, from the time he turned 18, he was drafted, ended up going to the UK to prepare for Operation Overlord, landed on Normandy beaches as a combat engineer, did lots of gruesome things, fought his way to Paris, and ultimately, outside of Paris, he ended up joining up with General Patton. He was trained as a mortar operator and a anti-tank missile soldier, fought his way all the way to Berlin, 30 miles outside. And interesting enough, through the entire travels, he ended up accumulating many battle stars, a Bronze Star, a Silver Star, and a Purple Heart. And we knew nothing about this when we were living. But that wasn't his only secrets. He had more. Last year, a lady named Marie Claude contacted my daughter Olivia on 23andMe. And as it turns out, my father did a lot more than fighting in France. He had a little bit of extra activity, because Marie Claude is my sister.
Oh, wow. This was last year?
Yeah.
Wow. How'd that make you feel?
It was wild. No, it's hard to explain how incredible it was.
Yeah.
So she was looking for her biological father. Ended up coming up with hardly any leads that was productive. And by chance, she did a 23andMe, and Olivia, my daughter, took one too, and that was the connection. And then we ended up, checking out her story. The geography was interesting because her mom lived exactly where my dad was stationed outside of Paris between the time he was a combat engineer and the time he became a mortar and anti-tank guy. And we traced the time frame from when she was conceived and born, and then of course I took the test and it came up as an exact match. So I have an older sister that I never knew I had before. She's 74 years old and really nice lady.
That's awesome. That's an interesting story.